all of you. Welcome back to a course Database Management System. In today's lecture, we are going to discuss a topic called as a ER diagram. It's our part 3. In part 1 and part 2, we discuss about various basics of a ER diagram. So we have started from very basic, that is what is ER diagram, what is the importance of ER diagram, what are the components of a ER diagram, what are the symbols that we use in ER diagram, and in the last lecture we discuss about the steps how to draw the ER diagram. Now in today's lecture we are going to see a sample ER diagram and tips, some of the tips related to ER diagram. So we'll start. So before discussing this, I want to know that in ER diagram most of the time you may find two types of relationship. One is a one-to-many kind of relationship and second one is a many-to-many kind of relationship. We already discussed about four types of relationships are there: one-to-one, one-to-many, many-to-one and many-to-many. But out of this it is observed that mostly two relationships are exist, that is one-to-many and many-to-many. See why we are discussing this, because in this particular lecture we are going to see how to draw a ER diagram, but that ER diagram we are developing for actual database. It is not a case that we are drawing ER diagram only for the sake of object oriented way. That means in case of a object oriented way, what is the difference? Suppose there is one entity is there called as a student, another entity is there book. So suppose somebody has taken relationship as a has, student has book. So in that case one thing is important, that we are not going to create a table called as a has. We are going to create a table student, we are going to create a table book, but we are not going to create a table called as a has. So whenever we are drawing ER diagram, you have to keep mind that we are going to create a table for this. So creation of a table is very much important. So that's why we need to discuss. Suppose you find one-to-many kind of relationship, what precaution you have to take, means how attributes transfer or adjustment can be done, and when many-to-many kind of relationship is there, what kind of attribute change will be there. Why? Because in case of a database we are creating number of table, but establishing a relationship between the table is important. And how to establish a relationship between the table, for that purpose we required one common attribute. Okay, establishing a relationship means what? We are going to join a two table, and when we are going to join two or more table, when the table have some common attribute. So having common attribute is very important thing. If two table do not have common attribute, we are not able to join this. That's why while drawing ER diagram we need to take care of that, how to establish a relationship between two table. Okay, suppose we are establishing a relationship, that means both the entities should have common attribute. So that common attribute should present in table 1 or it should be present in table 2, or for that purpose do we require a third table. So that I am going to explain with the help of these two example. First example is for one-to-many kind of relationship and another example is for many-to-many kind of relationship. So first of all, one-to-many kind of example. So suppose here I have two table, one is a college table and second one is a student table, or you can say two entity I have, college entity and student entity. So what kind of relationship exists between college and student? You can say one college has many student. Okay, so in that case has, we are not going to create a table called as a has. Okay, so in this case we need to establish a relationship between college and student, and I told you to establish a relationship what we required a common attribute. So in this case college table we have college ID, college name and address. In student table we have attribute called as a student ID, student name and the branch. Now in order to establish a relationship between these two we require common attribute. So that common attribute should be a primary key attribute. So either college ID is present in the student table, or another choice is to add student ID attribute in the college table. So here we need to check which one. Suppose we are adding college ID to student table, whether it violates a primary key constraint or after adding student id into a college table will violate the primary key constraint. And we know what is primary key. Primary key is that key which help us to uniquely identify every record of the table. And what is the specialty of primary key? Primary key cannot be a null value or it cannot be a duplicate value. That means primary key is unique in nature. Then and then we are going to identify the every record of the table uniquely. So first of all, we'll take this. Suppose I add student id attribute into college table. So what will happen? Suppose college id is 1, student id is 11. Again college is same, because what we are saying, one college may have n number of student, so college id for all the student will be same. Suppose college id is 1, student id is 11, college id is 1, student id is 12, college id is 1, student id is 13. So in this case what you observe, college id is repeated whether it is allowed. So in my college table, what is the primary key? College id is a primary key, so primary key attribute will not be repeated. So this is not allowed. Means suppose I am going to add student id to college table is not allowed. Why? Because here primary key constraint is violated. And how we come to know that primary key constraint is violated? Because repetition of value is not allowed in the primary key, but here primary key value is repeated. College id 1 is repeated for thrice. That means we are not allowed to add student id into a college table. Now what is the next choice? Our next choice is to add college id attribute to the student table. And now we have to check whether it violates primary key constraint or not. Suppose student id is 11, again college id is 1, student id is 12, college id is 1, student id is 13, college id is 1. So in this case college id attribute is repeated, but what is the primary key for the student table? Student id. Whether it is repeated? No. So it's okay. Here primary key constraint is not violated. That means we can establish a relationship between college and student table by adding a attribute called as a college id into a student table, because it will not violate the primary key constraint and relationship between two table will establish. You need to remember that in order to establish a relationship between two table, you require one common attribute. Forcefully you need to add one common attribute in both the table. Okay, sorry, not in the both the table, in only one table, but you have to decide whether from attribute will be added to first table or it is in the second table. So that's why I told you this mechanism. You have to check whether it after adding up this new attribute, whether it violates a primary key constraint or not. Suppose it is going to violate, then you have to change it. Okay, so in this case here primary key constraint is violated. Suppose we add student id into college table, so this is failed. But when we are going to add college id attribute to student table, then primary key constraint is not violated. So in order to represent a one-to-many kind of relationship between college table and student table, we do not require third table, and this relationship can be represented like this: one college and number of student. I told you earlier that there are multiple conventions can be used to represent a type of relationship, but very easy convention is to represent one we are going to use digit 1, and to represent many we are going to use alphabet n. So I hope you understand one to many kind of relationship. So for to have one to many kind of relationship, we do not require a third table. Okay, now next one is example of many to many example. Okay, many to many example. Now suppose I have again two table. One table is a teacher table and second one table is a student table. Again the purpose is same. I need to establish a relationship between two table, teacher table and the student table. Now here we need to see what kind of relationship exists between teacher and student. Now suppose I say between teacher and student, one to many kind of relationship will be there. So in one to many kind of relationship, what mechanism we have seen? Either we are going to add student id attribute to teacher table, or we are going to add teacher id attribute to the student table. Now here we have to check which one is successful, because suppose I'm saying one to many kind of relationship exists between teacher and student, I need to check it here whether primary key constraint violated or not. Suppose it is violated, then I am not going to allow to add that attribute. So that we are going to check. First of all, we are not directly jump to many. First of all, we are considering that whether one to many kind of relationship between teacher and student can occur or not. Okay, so here suppose I added student ID to the teacher ID table. Okay, sorry, teacher table. So here teacher ID is 1, student ID is 11, teacher ID is 1, student ID is 13, because one teacher can teach to more than one student. It is not a case that one teacher will teach only to one student. In a college, in various colleges, you observe that one teacher can teach to a number of students. That's why here suppose we have teacher ID 1, student ID is 11, teacher ID is 1, again student ID is 13. That means here primary key for teacher table, what is the primary key? Teacher ID. And what what are the speciality of primary key? That attribute value should not get repeated. But here what is your observation? The attribute teacher ID is repeated for 2 times. That means here we are not able to add student ID attribute to the teacher table. Why? Because here primary key constraint is violated. Now second chance, can we are going to add teacher ID attribute to the student table. Okay, so here suppose student ID is 11, which is taught by teacher ID 1, again student ID is 11, again taught by teacher ID 2. So in this case also you observe that what is the primary key for student table? Primary key for student table is student ID, but here student ID is repeated because one student is taught by many teachers. Okay, because in the college you observe that a number of subjects are there, so it is being taught by multiple teachers. That means in the student table also this addition of new attribute teacher ID is not allowed. Why? Because it will violate the primary key constraint. So primary key constraint is violated. Now here question is there. Question arises that we are not allowed to add teacher ID attribute to student table or student ID attribute to the teacher table. Then how can we establish a relationship between teacher and student? And we know that to establish a relationship between two tables, we require one common attribute. Okay, and that common attribute should be a primary key attribute. In both the cases it is not allowed. So what is the solution? We need to create a third table. Okay, so ultimately what is the solution? You need to create a third table. So here we'll create a third table called as a teach, where we have TID and SID. TID stands for teacher ID and SID stands for student ID. So for teach table, primary key is formed with two attributes, teacher ID and student ID. So what I told you that for primary key, there is only one primary key in one table, but primary key can be formed with more than one attribute also. In teacher table, primary key is formed with only single attribute called as a teacher ID, and in student table also primary key is formed with single attribute, that is student ID. And in the teach table, my primary key is formed with teacher ID and student ID. Now maybe question arises in your mind that in teach table we have combined two attributes to form a primary key, but why we are not doing in teacher table? Why we are not forming primary key in teacher table by the combination of this teacher ID and student ID? Why this is not possible? Because is it the case that teacher will be identified based on the student ID? Is it the case? No. Teacher ID teacher will be identified based on the teacher ID only. How can we say that based on the student ID you will identify the teacher? Or another way may be the case that you may think that in case of student table, why we are not combining two attributes, student ID and teacher ID, to form a primary key for student table? Same thing is there. How can we say that student will be identified based on the teacher ID? Is it possible? No. That's why what is the solution? We have to create third table where primary key is formed with a combination of two attributes. One is a teacher ID and second one is a student ID, because teach is a table. Teach is a table which tells us which student has taught by which particular teacher. And one more attribute here we have, date. Okay, on which date that teacher has teach to particular student. So in this case there is no violation of primary key, because suppose we take it collectively, then 111 is different from 113. Suppose we consider only teacher ID, then it is repeated. But suppose we take a combination of teacher ID and student ID, then that this value is unique. 111 is different from 130. So this is the case. When you find many to many kind of relationship, at that time, in order to show the relationship between these two entity, you require a third table. See, understanding this is very important, because most of the time student get confused how to show one to many kind of relationship and how to show a many to many kind of relationship. See, why I am telling you this thing, because I want that you will draw ER diagram in such a way that after drawing ER diagram you will start directly implementation of a database. That means there should be no difference, because suppose you draw ER diagram and there you are not take care of this one to many and many to many. In case of one to many also you have shown relationship with the help of third table, then it is wrong. So in this case, suppose you can create third table, that means college has student. So tell me whether has is a new table. Can we create a table name called as a has? So this thing is not there. That's why understanding mechanism of one to many and many to many is important. I hope all of you understand these two example of one to many and many to many. Now next is we are going to discuss a sample ER diagram for banking. Okay, so this is a sample ER diagram for banking system. See here, I want to tell you one thing over here. This is only a sample ER diagram. This is not a complete ER diagram for banking system. If you are going to draw a ER diagram for banking system, it will be very huge. Okay. The two things you need to consider whenever you are drawing a ER diagram for particular project, your diagram is very large. Whenever you are drawing a ER diagram for particular client, then again the diagram is large. But whenever you are drawing a sample ER diagram, that means you are considering entity and attributes by your own. You are not satisfying the requirement of the user. Okay, so in that case your ER diagram is different. But whenever you are drawing ER diagram for particular project, then it should be in very detail. Okay, here I can't say that this is a detailed ER diagram for banking system. If you are going to draw detailed ER diagram for banking system, it may consist of many number of entities. Okay, I hope all of you clear. Now here I told you about what are the steps that you need to follow while drawing ER diagram. So basically there are three steps that we have seen. First, we need to identify what are the entities involved in that system, what are the attributes of that entity, and what is the relationship between two entities. Okay, this is important thing. And while identifying a relationship, there are three choices are available. First of all, our choice would be noun. Suppose particular noun is not available, then we should go for verb. And suppose that particular suitable verb is also not available, then in that case you need to take a combination of both. So these are the few things that you need to follow while drawing ER diagram for any system. So here I am going to discuss a sample ER diagram for banking system. So this is again sample. Okay, so whenever when particular student is going to draw a sample ER diagram, that diagram is different from another student, because nobody has given you the specific requirement. When particular client is going to give a specific requirement, then maybe the case that two students will create a similar kind of ER diagram. But whenever two students are going to draw a sample ER diagram, at that time that ER diagram may differ. Maybe the case that one student may consider only 7 entities, another student may consider only 5 entities, then student may consider a different kind of relationship. So that is going to vary whenever you are drawing a sample ER diagram, and this is a sample ER diagram for banking system. Okay, so whenever you are drawing a sample ER diagram, you need to focus on that. You need to take only major entity which are very important in that particular system. So in case of banking, what is important entity? One is a branch. Okay, bank is considered as the one branch. Then in branch, what we have important thing? Customer. Okay, then to serve customer, what we have, employees there. And mostly in case of banking, various services are related to customer. So here we consider that customer is going to take a loan, then customer will going to deposit a money. So that many operation only I have taken, but more operation related to customer can be there. Customer can apply for check, customer can avail for any another service. Okay, so that's why I'm telling you this is not a detailed ER diagram. Suppose you need to draw detailed ER diagram, your ER diagram is very large. Okay, now first of all I need to consider branch entity and then employee entity. Now I want to establish a relationship between branch and employee. So here what you observe, here I mentioned one digit 1, here I mentioned alphabet N. That means between branch and employee table there exists a one to many kind of relationship. And whenever we need to form a one to many kind of relationship, we do not require third table. Okay, we do not require third table when we consider one to many kind of relationship. But between customer and employee, we have taken customer banker. It's not a banner, it's a customer banker. So between customer and employee, we have shown a relationship with the help of third table called as a customer banker. Why is it so? Because it is a many to many. So while drawing ER diagram, you have to keep in your mind that suppose one to many kind of relationship is there, there is no need of a third table. But when you consider many to many kind of relationship, at that time you need to consider a third table. So between customer and banker, n number of employee will serve n number of customer. So here I didn't find any suitable noun or verb, so I consider here customer banker as a relationship. So for employee, what are the attributes? Employee ID, employee name, contact number and address. So for employee, what is the primary key attribute? Employee ID. Employee ID is a primary key attribute for employee. Similarly for customer, what are the attributes are there? Customer ID is a primary key attribute, customer number, customer name and address. See, whatever the primary key attribute is there, that should be underlined. Here we required underline in EID. Also here we required underline in customer ID. So these are the attributes, and customer and employee is associated, or you can say related with each other by means of relationship customer banker. And this relationship also may have attribute type. So what here type represent? Type of service. Okay, what type of service is provided by employee to particular customer. Then between customer and loan, we know that customer and loan, to establish a relationship, first thing is noun. Whether particular noun is available? Yes. The person who take a loan called as a borrower. So borrower is a relationship between customer and loan. Similarly between customer and account, so here we consider one operation, that is customer going to deposit some money into account. So in that case, that person is called as a depositor. The person who is going to add money to your account called as a depositor. So here we consider depositor, customer, depositor, account. So for this depositor, we have one additional attribute called as a access date, on which particular date that customer have added amount to your account. Okay, then between loan and payment, suppose customer has taken a loan, then for that loan that customer has to pay EMI. So already we have discussed this. So between loan and payment there exists a relationship. Okay, so between loan and payment also there exists a relationship. So in the case of payment entity, we have payment number, payment date and amount. Again one more thing important over here, account. We have one more entity called as a account. So it has two attributes, account number and balance. And while discussing symbols for ER diagram, we have seen one symbol called as a is a kind of symbol. So in this case, account is a saving account, account is a current account. Okay, and for this saving account we have attribute interest rate. For saving account there is interest rate, and for current account there is no interest rate, but they have overdraft amount. But here I want to tell you one thing, whenever you are drawing ER diagram, avoid to take this is a kind of relationship. Now what is the reason that why we should not take is a kind of relationship? Because there will not be any kind of table called as a is a. What I told you, whenever you are drawing ER diagram, you need to take care, means while deciding a relationship, you one question should be come to your mind, that whether I will create a table for this or not. Means here, yes, I am going to definitely create a table customer banker. Here I will going to create a table borrower. Here I am going to create a table depositor. Here I am going to create a table loan payment. But whether I am going to create a table called as a is a, no. So it is a object oriented thing. Okay. See, though is a type of symbol given in that particular symbols of ER diagram, but I recommend you not to use is a kind of relationship. So how to avoid this? So in order to avoid this, what is the solution? In account, you will take one attribute called as a type of account. Okay. Here you will take one more ellipse. We know that ellipse is used to represent the attribute. Okay. Ellipse is used to represent attribute. So here you will take one more attribute in case of a account entity called as a type. And type of account is a saving account and the current account. Okay. So I recommend you not to use is a kind of relationship. Instead of this, you will take a one attribute. You will add one attribute into that particular entity. So this is a sample ER diagram for banking system. Once you draw ER diagram for a banking system, after that next step is to derive the schema. Okay, derive the schema for this particular ER diagram. Now what is a schema? Schema will represent overall design of your database, and it consists of two things. What are the two things are there? One is a table name and second one is a attributes name. So for entity, here how many entities are there? Branch is an entity, customer is an entity, employee, account, payment and loan. These are the entity. But what are the relationship? Customer, banker, borrower, loan payment, depositor. These are the relationship. Easy is also called relationship, but for this we are not going to create a table. See, these are the schema. Okay, these are the schema. That means that many table we are going to create, and for relationship that many table we are going to create. Have you observed is a? No. That's why I'm telling you, avoid, try to use is a kind of relationship. So try to use alternate way to avoid this is a. So here customer, first of all customer table will be there. So customer, what are the attributes? Customer ID, name, address and contact number. All the attributes that you cover over here, that you need to take while specifying the schema. And here underline represent that customer ID is a primary key. Then we have employee table. Employee ID is a primary key, employee name, address and contact number. For employee, 4 attributes are there. Now one question that comes to your mind, that how we have taken BID, why BID is present? While drawing ER diagram there is no BID attribute, but while deriving the schema we have added one attribute called as a BID. How that attribute comes? Because between branch and employee table there exists one to many kind of relationship. And if you remember this, whenever we have one to many kind of relationship, one additional attribute we have to add in table 1 or in table 2. So here relationship between employee, one to many kind of relationship exists between employee and branch. So in that case one additional attribute will be added either to branch table or to the employee table. So here we have added in the employee table. So in the branch table whether there is a additional attribute? No. Now here question is that why you have added only extra attribute only in the employee table, but why you are not added into branch table? Suppose I am going to add one extra attribute employee ID into a branch table, then it violates the primary key constraint. That's why I have added this extra attribute into employee table, so that between employee and branch relationship is established. And to establish a relationship, what we required? We required one common attribute. So between employee and branch, what is a common attribute? Branch ID is a common attribute. Okay, that's why see you need to think of all these things. Okay, you need to consider all these things while drawing ER diagram. Okay, the next one is after employee table, account number, balance, BID, branch table, BID, BName, address. Then in loan table also you find loan number and amount, but between branch and loan and one to many kind of relationship is there. That's why you observe over here one additional attribute is added between one additional attribute is added into a loan table. Okay, now between customer and employee there exists what kind of relationship? Many to many. So this is a third table that we are going to create between customer and banker. What is a primary key? Combination of customer ID and employee ID considered as a primary key, but this is a third table. So that's why I'm telling you, whenever we have many to many kind of relationship between two table, there is no need to add new extra attribute into table 1 or table 2, but you have to consider that attribute in the third table. So here between customer and employee we have established a relationship by using this name customer banker, where we have added these attributes customer ID and employee ID, and here combination will considered as a primary key. So this is a thing. So there are 4 relationship in our table: customer banker, loan payment, depositor and borrower. So that we have considered over here. So after drawing ER diagram for any particular domain, you need to derive a schema. Okay, and after that implementation of database will take place with the help of SQL. So this is what importance of drawing ER diagram, and in this lecture I consider actual ER diagram. Maybe in different books and different resources you may find different kinds of ER diagram for banking system, but you need to consider, means one question that should come to your mind, that whether I am going to create a table for this relationship or not. But most of the time what I observe that student is taking relationship customer has loan. So whether has is a table that I am going to create while implementation? So no. So that's why be careful while establishing a relationship between two entities. Either it is one to many or many to many. So I hope you understand how to generate a ER diagram or how to construct a ER diagram for particular domain or for particular problem statement. So here we'll stop. In the next lecture we will discuss more topic related to ER diagram, or maybe we consider another sample ER diagram. Okay, thank you.